Frank here, and I am here to bring you another exciting chapter of Douglas Jerrod. Remember, go to Douglas Jerrod and Samson P. Willings to get all your information on apprehending a copy of Douglas Jerrod. Where we left off, we were in the green-eyed section. Everything started getting kind of interesting, so without further ado, we will continue on in the green-eyed section. Chapter 15. Research, uncovers, and shed lights. Sheds light. Sounds interesting, don't it? The elevator opened up to Garcia and Douglas's floor after they shared their emotional moment. When the officers and detectives spotted the two exit the elevator, the whole floor burst out into applause. The two walked straight into the noise-filled floor with their fellow policeman. She turned to tell him an added part to their earlier discussion. This helps with the job, too. Enjoy it. This usually doesn't last long. Garcia walked into the middle of the room to address the crowd of people. She stepped up on a chair to stand over the many happy people. She then motioned to the crowd to quiet down. She started into her message when the crowd finally quieted down. We have all worked hard to get to this stage of our investigation. We have got our men, but our job is not over yet. We need to put in more work to finish up with the takedown of the Dover organization. But with this win, we are one step closer. So congratulations, and let's put these criminals where they belong. The crowd erupted in applause again at the end of Garcia's address. She let the men celebrate for a moment more before she motioned for them to quiet down again. The noise tempered off slowly. While the men ceased, she had a serious look come over her face. Back to work, men, Garcia ordered before she stepped down from the chair. She strolled back to Douglas as the officers and detectives returned to their work. Before she reached him, Dr. Scott came out and rushed up to him with a sense of urgency. Wayne reached out and touched him on the shoulder at the same time she reached him. I have found something that I think you should know, Douglas. I'm kind of busy at the moment, Wayne. It's okay, Douglas. It will be a while before our suspects get here. You can go with the doc. Garcia released Douglas while she went to her office to begin her report on the raid of the boatyard. Wayne motioned for him to follow as he stood there with Wayne. After Wayne's gesture, the two walked to the doctor's office. When they reached the door to the doctor's office, Wayne opened the door and the two entered the room. I have done some more research on your grandfather after finding what I found this morning. What else have you found? Douglas questioned about the importance of Wayne's findings as he closed the door behind them. After the door was closed, he walked over to the leather couch while Wayne took his seat behind his desk. When they both sat down and adjusted themselves, the doctor opened up a file on his desk. Wayne quickly read through the papers until he came across what he was speaking of. Your grandfather talked a lot about his future grandson and his son. What? That doesn't make a lot of sense. That is why my grandfather came to the conclusion of some kind of time travel. Douglas Jerrod Sr. wrote 2 letters as he spoke about changing the outcome of certain events in your family timeline. One of the letters was sent to your father, and one was sent to you. I got that letter yesterday, and it helped me with the case today. That is what I was talking about. Do you happen to have the letter on you? Wayne asked Douglas, interrupt intently while he closed up the file. He then opened a drawer of his desk and put the file on Douglas Jerrod Sr. in it. He closed up the drawer before he looked back to Douglas as Douglas checked his pockets of his jacket. After a few seconds, Douglas realized that the letter was not anywhere to be found. I must have taken it out of my pocket and put it up at home. It really isn't important. At least I know that the letters really exist. What does this mean? It proves that Edwin Scott wasn't far off with his conclusion. Is your grandfather still around? Douglas politely questioned about Dr. Edwin Scott's whereabouts. After he asked, Wayne took out a piece of paper and wrote down an address. When Wayne finished writing the information on the paper, the kind doctor passed it to him. He took it and read the paper. 1579 East 3rd Street. That is the address to the Shady Water Rest Home in town. That is where you will find Edwin these days. He moved with my grandma to Grand Isle after he finished his work at the facility in Lincoln, Nebraska. Lincoln, Nebraska? That is where my grandfather was housed. Yes, but that ends my knowledge of your family. To know more, you will have to ask Edwin. Thank you, Wayne. That helps me a lot. Douglas showed his appreciation of Wayne's research as he stood up from the couch. Before he walked to the door, he shook his friend's hand. He then opened the door and began to leave Wayne's company. While he shut the door, he turned back to Wayne. Come out with me and get some drinks later. It sounds like a plan. I will catch up with you later. Until later. Douglas fully shut the door and walked out into the floor of officers. He weaved around the officers to the lieutenant's office. When he reached Garcia's door, he reached out and grabbed the doorknob. After he turned the knob, he swung the door open, walked into the office, and closed the door behind himself. Are you ready to question these suspects? Douglas asked when he stood in front of Garcia. She looked up to him with a serious look while she remained seated at her desk. As she sat there, she wondered what had changed her mood since the last time they met. He sat down to receive what she had to say. I think you should head home right now. Why? Douglas quickly questioned back to Garcia's recommendation. What could make the woman change her tune? Wasn't it more important for him to be here? He questioned himself mentally as he wandered further. Something has happened to your wife. What has happened to Carol? She has been shot. She needs you more than we do. Don't worry about the questioning. I will take care of that now. Now, go. Douglas's eyes filled with tears as Garcia fully informed him of the importance of her recommendation she made to him. A whole lot of questions flew through his mind while he prepared himself for the worst. Just as he gathered his thoughts, he had the words that Mr. Dover had told him go through his mind. That son of a bitch did this. He rushed out of the room. And that is Chapter 15 of Douglas Jerrod. Go to Douglas Jerrod and SamsonPWillings.com to get all your information on apprehending this wonderful tale of a man stuck in a mental facility that travels back and forth through a family link to his grandson and views his grandson's life as well as his own in Douglas Jerrod. And also go to FJ Invisible's YouTube page to subscribe and see all the videos you might have missed. Thank you, and good day. Stop. Stop. One more.